Today, I'm finally revealing my secret kokanee recipe. This is the exact recipe that I have used that successfully landed me all the kokanees and trout till this day. It has helped me catch limits faster, and it has also consistently helped me catch fish every single time I'm out there. And the crazy part is, it's a super simple recipe, but there's a few key details that no one ever talks about. Stick around because I'm going to be showing you what's required in this recipe, how to store it, and exactly how you would rig it when you're trolling for kokanee or trout. Let's get into it. Alright, so we're here at home and not on the water today, but here is where the magic starts. If the corn isn't right, the fishing won't be either. I do not know anyone who's gone kokanee fishing out there trolling with the gear without any bait on it. By having some kind of bait on it, it just provides better presentation and scent for the kokanee or trout to target. And here's everything you need. So the first ingredient you want is soup head corn. So the second ingredient is you want canned tuna in oil. Make sure it's in oil and not in the water. The oil actually provides a better scent in combining with the corn. Another oil that I add as additional, as just adding just a few drops, would be the anise oil. That just helps kick up that scent a little bit more. So after all that, you could keep your corn as is after adding those ingredients, but I also like to dye and just toughen up my corn a little bit so that they stay on the hook a little better. When you're trolling, you don't want any of the corn to just come off and there hasn't been any bite yet. You can get a kokanee corn dye mixture that will dye the kokanee corn at the same time and also provide a little bit of salt in it that toughens the corn just a little bit. But if you're just looking just to toughen up the corn without dyeing it, you could just add more salt. You don't need to add too much as you don't want the corn to fully harden. And lastly, you want something to store your cured corn. I preferably like to use a smaller mason jar like container like this, where it seals tight but it's still portable, where it's smaller. By having a smaller container like this, I don't even get through half of the corn, and I could just freeze it and reuse it the next time again. So the only issue about corn is that it does have to be stored in more of a colder area. Especially during the summer, you want to make sure that the corn are stored more in the colder area so that they don't go bad. That's something that you should consider when you're using corn out on the water. You wouldn't have to worry too much about winter time as it's already colder. In springtime, it just depends if it's hotter, if there's a heat wave. But most of the time during spring, it's still fairly cold, and even during the fall as it transitions to where it gets a little colder. Summertime is mainly the time where most people will have to worry about where they should store their corn to make sure that the corn doesn't go bad. Now here's why it works. Kokanee do not bite based upon hunger. They bite based upon reaction and a scent trail. So what we're doing with this corn is we're adding scent, visibility, and taste for the fish to hold onto the hook a lot longer. That extra second is the difference between a miss and an actual hookup. Let's get started on mixing that secret corn recipe. So the first thing you want to do is you want to strain the soup head corn. So make sure you have some kind of strainer and just strain it through, strain the juices out. So the next thing you want to do is you want the oil. So you're going to strain all that tuna out of it as well. You can just get some kind of spoon, press it in, and get all that oil out from the meat. Alright, so now we're going to be combining all our ingredients. I'm going to be pouring our tuna oil in with it. Just a few drops of our anise oil, as anise is a very strong scent, so you don't really need too much of this oil. You just need about maybe 2 to 3 to 4 drops, and that should be enough. If you put too much anise oil, it can actually overpower the other scents. So I am going to be dyeing my corn today, so I'm going to be using a mixture I found online, and it's going to dye my corn pink, but it also has a mixture of salt in there that's going to cure the corn as well to harden them. So if you already have a mixture like that, you don't need to add any additional salt to it. You just need to sprinkle just a little bit, and it should be able to cure the whole batch. And it should be able to dye the whole batch as well. You don't need too much of it. So now is the time to mix it. It does get a little bit messy, and because it does have dye on it, I plan to use some gloves today to mix it so that it doesn't get onto my fingernails, as the dye could take a little bit of time to come off. Alright, so the last thing you got to do now is pack into a container. It doesn't have to be a glass container or anything. It could be any container that you would like to use. A plastic, a big container, it's just all on preference. This is just my preference of what I like to use in transporting my corn. So here's an example of how you would put the cured corn onto your hooks. So I have a hoochie here, and what I would usually do is I would hook it with the opening end of the corn facing back. So as you hook it, you only want to put one corn per hook. Any more than that will be too heavy. It'll mess with the action of the lure. So you just want to do it like that. And then another one. And it's just simple as that. I'm just putting one corn each. It's best to cure your corn the day before and store it in the fridge so that you can use it for the next day. The corn that you aren't planning to use yet, you should put in the freezer to better preserve them. I've had days where I'm on the water and I see other kayakers and boaters who are struggling to get a bite. And sometimes it really does come down to the bait, as it provides the necessary amount of scent that draws attention to your gear. When you're out in the water, you do want to consider all your gears though, as the type of rod you're using, dodger you're using, what you're planning to put in front of the fish. Just know there's many other oils out there that you can mess around with. Tuna and anise isn't the only thing. There's also krill and even herring oil. But I mean, you can mess around with all the oils that you want and just find the right formula of what you feel is best for you. Having confidence in your bait is the key. Until you find that formula, what works for you, that's what you should be using. I feel this is what has been working for me, and I've been sticking with it. If you found this helpful, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment in the bottom and let me know what you would like to see next. I'll see you on the next one.